In this video, we will review the Custom Amplifiers option within the ARC application. First, browse the Administration tab at the top of your ARC application, then down to the Amplifiers tab in the menu on the left. Once the Amplifiers menu is launched, you will see three columns: Amplifier Settings, Apollo 64 Channel, Amp Input Layout, and Electrode Labels column. You will see that all amplifiers that are compatible with the ARC application are listed with defaults applied that come set from the factory. To modify any of your default amplifiers, simply select the amplifier you'd like to change and move over to the input label map. Here you will see that there are 8 active reference bipolar pairs that are optional to activate. To activate any one of them, simply click on the checkbox at the top left. Now you will see a black active and red reference input for that particular pair. To disable any channels unneeded for this amplifier, simply hover over the input label name and left click. You will see the input go gray, indicating that it is disabled. If you would like to re-enable that input, simply left click on it again. In this example, I will continue to go through and disable all channels unneeded for this particular amplifier that I'm creating. Disabling these channels will allow you to prevent data file sizes that are unneeded by recording open amplifier inputs, and will also speed up the process, functionality, and usability of impedance testing. Here you can see now that I have disabled all inputs I do not need for this particular amplifier layout, and I have enabled one active reference pair that I will use for EKG. To label your inputs, simply click in the box above that input and type the name. I have now created my default Apollo 64 channel amplifier. If I would like to create a new Apollo 64 channel amplifier layout, I will simply navigate to the bottom of the Amplifier Settings column and left click on the Add Amplifier Settings icon. I can now choose the amplifier I wish to create and customize. In this example, I will be creating another Apollo 64 channel amplifier layout. Once selected, I will need to change the name of this layout to something unique. In this example, I will call it a modified 1010. Once created, I can now move over to my amplifier input layout and continue with labeling channels. Since I'm creating a modified 1010, I do not want to use the 1020 electrode layout labels. I will simply move to the top of the column and left click on this drop-down and choose the option desired for creating the input labels. In this instance, I will choose 1010. Once selected, the electrode labels layout for 1010 will be displayed. I can now continue by labeling each one of my inputs on the amplifier with the electrode labels map on the right. To do so, simply left click in the label box above the input and choose the label from the map on the right. I have selected AF7 to be the input label for input 26 on my amplifier. You can continue by selecting the input label box above each input and then selecting the label from the layout map on the right. Continue to do this until you have applied all of the input labels required for your custom amplifier. Once completed, click Save. If you would like to print the input labels, click Print. If at any time you would like to revert back to the default or open amplifier settings, simply click the Enable All Inputs and Reset All Labels icon at the bottom of the column. Once clicked, you will see all of the input labels now deleted, and any inputs that I had disabled will now be re-enabled. Once your custom amplifiers are created, you can now move to the Montages tab to create unique montages. We will discuss this feature in the next tutorial.